Focusing on the success of outlets like PragerU, you are ideally placed, I think, to discuss another theme at this conference, which is telling a better story. And what I mean by that is a lot of the West story that's told to young people today is one in which we are a unique evil that the world has ever known. The West is a unique horror, colonialization, we need to decolonize the curriculum, Black Lives Matter, the whole ideology behind that, Marxism 101. PragerU has had phenomenal success. Do you attribute that to young people simply wanting to seek out ideas that they aren't exposed to at all in their schools and public schools and all the rest of it, universities too, universities possibly worse, Dennis? What do you attribute that to, and what is the West story that we ought to be telling?
So I gave long answers prior. The answer is yes to your the first part of your question. They hear rational, calm truths, and they often respond, "Wow, I never knew that." As regards the West story, the great black leader, Frederick Douglas.
Yes.
The man was a great leader, period. He happens to have also been black. He grew up a slave. He escaped slavery, became one of the greatest forces for good in American history. In his autobiography, he writes, and I'm paraphrasing because I can't memorize lines well, but he says basically, it is Britain that, and then America, that liberated the black all over the world. Who was taught that? If you even repeat that, you are somehow a white supremacist. Was Frederick Douglass a white supremacist? So here is the key for everyone to understand. Truth is not a left-wing value. It is a liberal value. It is a conservative value. It is not a left-wing value. And therefore, to make up lies about the West has been the greatest force for good in the history of Earth. If you care about goodness, you want to preserve the West. Full stop, as you would say.
Absolutely. So do you think then, just finally, do you think then the West and its policy makers have been robust enough in actually saying what you've just said, Dennis, which doesn't strike me as controversial, but it has become controversial to say what you have just said there?
Yes.
Many viewers at home will be watching and thinking nothing that you have said ought to be remotely controversial, but the sad reality is that it is, and we need to do something about it. What is that something?
Well, you basically implied it with telling the West story. A civilization with flaws. Look, the question about slavery, okay, which is so dominant now. So take the United States of America. America had slavery. Slavery is an evil, period, full stop, absolutely. But the question is not, did America have slavery? Everyone had slavery. Black tribes in Africa, indigenous peoples all over Mesoamerica, South America, North America. Every society had slaves.
And of course many still do.
Well, right, but yeah, you're right. But let's talk about America at that time. Everyone did. So you don't ask, when you judge the past, you don't ask, what did they do like everyone else did? You ask, what did they do that no one else did? No one else abolished slavery like the West began to abolish slavery. No one in the world. The Muslim world was built on black slaves. And they castrated most of the black slave men so that they couldn't reproduce. Whereas that does not take place in the West. So whenever that is said, oh, he's justifying slavery, you have to be a sick, distorted mind to think that that's a justification of slavery. All I'm saying is there are degrees of evil. And that's not taught. How many uni kids in England or in America know about Arab slavery? Zero. All they know is America had slaves. That's all they know, that Washington had slaves. But Washington built a country that abolished slavery and made it possible. 4 million blacks have moved to America in the last few decades. 4 million from the Caribbean and Africa. Why would they move to a systemically racist country? Are they stupid? Did Jews move to Germany in the 1930s? Of course not. People don't move to where they're hated. They move to where they'll be, in fact, loved.
Absolutely. And free.
And free.
Have you got what it takes to be a reasoned presenter? Well, send us a short clip of yourself to join@reasoned.uk and we might be seeing you on this very channel very soon indeed.